Hello, everybody. Whoa, fuck. Welcome to week 8 of the XPDLA season 5 season. 5 season? 5 season? And I'm going up against Queen Coach of the Mad Hatterenes. She has a fucking terrifying bitch fucking team. In case you missed it, we started 6-1 this season. Very, very nice ride so far. Week 3 was the low point. From then on, we've been cruising. So that's pretty cool. This week, though, probably one of the harder matchups. Last week was my worst matchup of the season easily, but this one is a look at her fucking team down there. Dragapult, Mandibuzz, Vaporeon, Whimsicott, Sock, Zangoose, Mega Mawile, Nihilego, Cinderace, Rotomfrost, and Claydol. So she's got like 7 Pokemon there. One of which is a Zangoose. So yeah, I do not deal with Mega Mawile at all. I do not deal with Dragapult or Cinderace at all. So that's a good start. Anyway, I feel like the Mons I can bring are pretty potent this game. But it's just a matter of playing my pieces correctly. We'll start with what I feel like is one of the bigger threats to her team, and that is an offensive Piloswine. This is enough speed for a 20 speed Vaporeon. I outspeed that by a point. Max attack, Adamant, and the rest in HP. The combination of ground and ice goes pretty much unchecked across her team outside of Rotom. Frost Formation, which superpower is there to obliterate. This thing is a fucking train against your team. Vaporeon is the best answer, and unless it's fully physically defensive, it gets 3-hit KO'd. And if it's fully physically defensive, it gets pressured by this, Zygarde, and can't really switch into Pidgeot super well, and it's also beaten down by Rotom easier, and Zarude also pressures that quite a bit. So that's pretty nice. Even though Zarude's matchup is not very good, it does have some qualities that I like. Anyway, up next we have Mega Pidge. The speed on this is for Cinderace. This is just, like, flying isn't exactly a type she likes switching into, outside of Nihilego and Rotom and Mawile. Hidden Power Ground hits 2 out of 3 of those. Rotom I'm not, like, convinced fully is coming, but I still want to be prepared for that if it does. I feel like it'll be Scarfed if it comes, and if it's Scarfed, I really don't deal with it with Pidgeot anyway. I do take a Volt Switch, but I don't think Heat Wave is a guaranteed kill on it unless Rocks are up, and I'm not bringing Stealth Rock this week, so yeah. Or I guess Blizzard could kill me too. That would suck. But yeah, just Hidden Power Ground is, I consider Nihilego a better answer to this than Rotom, because Rotom doesn't like eating Hurricanes as it switches in, and Hidden Power Ground also hits Mawile relatively hard. I think it's about as strong. It's slightly stronger than Hurricane, I think, versus Mawile, so odds are I'll be clicking that a lot of the time. So U-turn's just nice momentum and Roostus to stay healthy throughout the game, because I can't run Boots on this. Up next is Galarian Weezing. I really toiled with this set for a while in the last move slot. I originally had, I think, Will-O-Wisp over Toxic and Thunderbolt? I want to say Thunderbolt over Taunt. And then Fire Blast was Flamethrower. So I just changed it to this. Toxic is nice. It nails a lot of the mons I want it to nail. Dragapult, if it's not Substitute. And if I'm in a range where she thinks Steel Wing will kill me and my Berry hasn't popped yet, then that could be really, really cool. That could be clutch. I can take a Shadow Ball and Poison or Strange Steam it back. Mandibuzz, I do a chunk of damage to a Strange Steam and I can poison it. Vaporeon, the main reason I wanted Taunt Toxic is for Vaporeon. I'm fully convinced Vaporeon's coming up physically defensively. Because Choice Banded Zygarde's a huge threat to her team. Whimsicott, I can Fire Blast and Poison. Whimsicott's never staying in on this, unless it's Specs with Psychic, because it doesn't kill unless it's Specs, I think. Modest Life Orb might, but I don't think it'll be Modest. I think there's something on my team that's Zarude, and Archeops will stop it from being Modest. Sock, I can Strange Steam and destroy Zangoose. Zangoose is kind of an issue for this, but it's part of the reason I had Wisp on there, as if, you know, if it's an SD Zangoose and I'm in before its Toxic Orb goes off, and I burn that, then that's huge. but it still hits my team really hard with Facade anyway, and Strange Steam should do enough damage to that, so it's offsetting. Flamethrower was there just in case, like sub SD Mawile with Iron Head and Play Rough, the dual stab. That set doesn't like Metagross, but Metagross, unless it's like offensive, and I really wanted to bring Metagross to this game, but I just got destroyed. Unless it was bulky, and I also had Scarf Metagross on here at one point, but I just took that off in the end because it wasn't that good. And Victini also is a problem for that set, so she might have to run Knockoff because Victini has a much better matchup than Metagross does, I think. But regardless, sub SD is an issue, but Fire Blast should do enough damage to just a plain SD3 attacks, which I think is more likely. SD, Sucker Punch, Iron Head, Knockoff is what I'm expecting to show up. I don't know how great Play Rough is, because Knockoff should do enough damage to Rotom anyway. Knockoff and a Sucker Punch, so. Nihilego walls this. That's also another reason I had Will-O-Wisp. But, A, I don't know how likely Nihilego is. It really only is great as a Pidgeot answer. It offensively doesn't have the best matchup to my team, because Piloswine can take Grass Knot okay. It can eat up Power Gem really well. I have a Blissey, I have a Rotom Wash, I have a Zygarde, and a Metagross is really strapped for slots in this matchup, and, yeah, offensively it doesn't have the greatest time. This can take a hit and Toxic the Cinderace. It Fire Blast the Rotom Wash and Poison the Claydol. Next we have a Banded Zygarde. Like I said, this thing destroys her team. Yeah, if it's physical Dragapult, this thing eats that up. The only thing I'm really expecting Specs Dragapult this game over really anything else. But either way, this thing kind of deters Dragapult from doing too much. Arrow's switch-ins are Mandibuzz, Vaporeon, and Whimsicott. I expect like 2 out of 3 of those to come. Vaporeon, I'm 100%, like, that thing pretty much has to show up. And then I would think Pult, Cinderace, Mawile, Vaporeon, Rotom probably comes. I think Rotom's more likely than, like, Mandibuzz, and then Whimsicott in the last slot. Because Whimsicott checks Rotom as well as Zygarde pretty well. And yeah, I don't think Mandibuzz is super likely, so yeah, Arrows kind of demolishes that team I just stated, Banded Arrows. Whimsicott doesn't heal, doesn't like eating too many extreme speeds. Vaporeon needs 2 slots to recover in 2 turns, which I can take advantage of with something like Rotom or Pidgeot, so that's nice. And yeah, Thousand Arrows just like hits everything else. Earthquake is stronger than Arrows and does more to like Vaporeon. If it's Fizz Def, I've actually a chance to 2-shot it. Especially if it's not lefties, if it's like Boots. Yeah. Earthquake, I think, is a guaranteed OHKO on offensive Mawile, whereas Arrows is like a roll. I actually have a Choice Scarf Rotom. I needed a Scarf for this game because her team is ridiculously fast. Again, like I said, I had Metagross in that slot before. But it didn't outspeed Dragapult. The speed, because she can speed creep a Choice Scarf Metagross with Dragapult, she can't speed creep a Choice Scarf Rotom with this. And I mean, I do expect a Pult just that outspeeds, what's that thing called? Pidgeot-Mega. But yeah. I decided this was a more solid thing. Like I said, I did expect Whimsicott, but if I can trick a Scarf onto that, I don't really expect offensive. I expect like a bulky support, Taunt, Moonblast, Subseed set of some sort. So I say that 63 times fast. Yeah, Leech Seed sub is just really good, especially because I'm bringing Blissey this week. So yeah. This Revenge kills Cinderace extraordinarily well, because obviously Scarf Hydro Pump. You do the math. It outspeeds Nihilego if it's offensive and not Scarfed. It speed ties with the Rotom Frost. Like I said, I expect that to be Choice Scarf. Hydro Pump does a ton to that. Foul Play is really good for physical Dragapult. It still does a chunk to special, so that's nice. And then finally we have Blissey. Fully physically defensive. I can eat a player off with this set. And Ice Toss Mawile for a ton of damage. Toxic's there for Mandibuzz mostly. Ice Beams to break subs on Pult. And do a ton of damage to that. I have enough special attack to guarantee a 2 KO on no bulk. And obviously, pretty much every Blissey runs either Soft Boiled or Wish. So, yeah. Stepping, Michael stepping right into this game here. We're going up, like I said, against Queen, coach of the Mad Hatterenes, just for a little refresher. And she brought probably your best 6 Pokemon outside of Nihilego. Like I said, I didn't really expect Mandibuzz this week, but here it is. So I'm expecting like a mixed defensive Mandibuzz, maybe a banded Cinderace, or just like a standard Boots OU thingamabob with like Pyro Ball, Gunk Shot, maybe not Gunk Shot even, just Pyro Ball, High Jump Kick, U-Turn, maybe Super Fang, maybe Taunt, something along those lines. Like I said, Specs Dragapult, even though Blissey kind of stops that, if I have to switch into Blissey, she can just U-Turn, bring in Mawile, and then from there, ouch. SD Mawile, like I said in the builder, I expected Iron Head, Sucker Punch, Knockoff, Physically Defensive Vaporeon, and Support Whimsicott are my thoughts at Team Preview. Nothing really leads super well against, what's that thing called? Zygarde. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't expect the Pult to lead off because it loses pretty hard to a Piloswine lead. Unless it has U-Turn, obviously. But it doesn't want to eat an Ice Shard. So I didn't really expect that. If anything, I expected the Mandibuzz to lead off. Or the Cinderace. Mostly Cinderace. And I can eat a High Jump Kick from that and kill it. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to lead with as she leads with the Dragapult. So I lose out on that. So obviously I cannot stay in. I'm just going to go straight into Blissey here as my initial switch in, as she actually switches out. So I thought originally that she was fearing Choice Scarf Zygarde and was scouting. It didn't really cross my mind, but if at the time, if it was physical Dragapult, it doesn't kill me with Dragon Darts, and it would die to whatever. So yeah, that's why she switched out, I'm pretty sure. I don't think she was really afraid of Choice Scarf Zygarde. But I figured that's what she was scouting for. But since it switched out first, she now knows that I am not Choice Scarf Zygarde unless I'm really slow. So I'm going to bring in my Blissey, like I said, and I'm just going to go for Toxic. If this thing taunts me, that's unfortunate. I was kind of expecting a knockoff to come out here, but she actually pulls out the U-Turn, which I was not expecting to see on this. But it definitely makes a lot of sense. So I'm thinking it's going to be Foul Play Defog Roost, potentially, or Foul Play Taunt Roost. Most likely Defog because I have hazards. So yeah, and Vaporeon doesn't like hazards, and neither does Whimsicott, so she's gonna go into Mawile straight away, and I thought this was kind of a weird play, but it makes sense. If I T-Wave, nothing else really wants to come in on that aside from Vaporeon, and it was pretty, S-Toss didn't make much sense there against a Mandibuzz, so I'm just going to switch into Weezing because it's a nice stopgap. It's part of the reason why it's here, why it's neutralizing gas, etc. She actually reveals the substitute, which kind of threw me for a loop. So I'm thinking this is probably dual stab Sucker Punch. I'm going to have to eat an Iron Head and break this thing sub and hit a Fire Blast and everything. But she actually shows the knockoff, so I'm thinking this is Sucker Punch Iron Head, right? But like I initially thought, in the preview, but she actually shows the play rough. So she shows to not have Iron Head because she pretty much has to have Sucker Punch because otherwise Pidgeot and Zygarde walk all over this thing. So she, I do hit the Fire Blast, I do break the substitute. I taunted there just in case. She went for Iron Head and hit me up and was like Swords Dance, I don't know. Or just in case she like switched or something, I don't know. Like if she baton passed, let's say, into like Dragapult, I wanted to stop that from DDing or bulking up on Cinderace. I wanted that to not be a thing. So yeah, Taunt was kind of a suboptimal play there, but whatever. I'm gonna break the thing. Substitute Vaporeon's gonna come in as I Strange Steam. I didn't think she would stay in. I felt like that was a not very great play if she did that, and I thought that the Dragapult would come in there for some fucking reason. Or more than likely the Cinderace was what I was kind of thinking of at the time, and I wanted to hit that thing a little bit harder with Strange Steam because stab and all that. So I'm going to switch, or I'm going to try and Toxic this as she shows the Protect. I have a tiny bit of speed on here for no speed Vaporeon. I think actually I have enough speed on here for no speed Vaporeon. So this will give me some good information. I think it's worth potentially taking a Scald initially there if I go for Toxic, and the fact that she goes for Protect makes her see that I potentially have speed on this for Vaporeon. So she switches into the Cinderace. I don't want to take a Scald if I don't have to, so I'm actually going to double into my Rotom here, and this is a really nice opportunity to pull out the surprise Choice Scarf Hydro Pump, knock out the Cinderace. Yeah, she could have scouted by switching into Whimsicott, but I'm more than likely I'm not Choice Scarf because it's bad against Dragapult, unless I have a tool for it, which I do. I have Foul Play like you saw in the builder. And so yeah, there's that. Hydro Pump into that is really nice. And this shows the fact that I'm Scarf, which lets in the Dragapult, which kind of sucks. I have to go back into Blissey as she actually subs up. So that's really annoying. She shows the substitute on this, and I'm going to assume the Whimsicott is substitute as well, because like I said, Subseed, Moonblast, Leech Seed, Taunt is the set I expect to see, most likely. So I bring in Blissey, I have to click Ice Beam, I just can't fuck around with this thing, as she actually shows to be physical. Which makes a lot of sense because it fucks with Blissey. So Dragon Dart's just... I think it's like some kind of roll or something, but I'm not risking my Blissey. I'm just going to go into Weezing here because it's relatively free because it's physical. I can still eat up a Steel Wing as she gets back a ton of lefties and goes into Vaporeon. I figured she wouldn't stay in, and if she did stay in, she would Steel Wing, which I can definitely take. And Toxic there was just like really nice. Because it hits the Vaporeon coming in. And I do not expect Mawile. That thing is way too valuable to risk, and Stream Steam would do a decent chunk to that on the switch-in, which means she would have to pass a Wish into it and stuff. So I do get off the poison. I'm going to go for Taunt because I figure it's going to have Heal Bell maybe, but she actually reveals to have a tiny bit of speed in this to outrun Creeps, which kind of sucks. But I do get off the Taunt, which forces her to attack, so I can go into Blissey and heal it up here without having to worry about this thing getting up a free Wish. So that's kind of nice, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. She brings in the Mawile expecting a Toxic, but I'm just going to heal up. And Play Rough on me is a roll, and I do actually expect her to get up a Substitute, predicting my Weezing to come back in. Maybe my my Piloswine, because I would think that she doesn't have Iron Head, but the Violite on Piloswine is way too valuable. Health on that is way too nice. Lets me eat Foul Plays from that, Moonblast or whatever from Whimsicott. It lets me take on the Dragapult extremely well, so I'm just going to stay in here, but she actually does go for the Play Rough, which is a pretty solid play on her part. Going to get off the S-Toss, which actually reveals to be a 2-shot, but it's not going to be able... It actually does a ton of damage, which shows that she doesn't have much HP investment, which is some nice info. But yeah, regardless, I'm going to go into Zygarde as Blissey drops, which kind of sucks, because that's obviously my main switch into the Pult. But since it's physical, yeah, that means that Weezing checks it a lot better. So Weezing's even more pressured this game. So I'm going to go for 1,000 Arrows. It just hits pretty much everything. As she goes into Whimsicott, I'm going to stay in because I'm expecting some kind of play to take advantage of my switch. So I'm just going to 1,000 Arrows as she does indeed go for Substitute. And now I'm going to switch out into my Pidgeot, expecting a Moonblast as she actually Leech Seeds. So that was pretty nice on her end. I'm going to go ahead and just spam Hurricane here for a minute. Try and get this thing a little lower. I believe here I go for another Hurricane. I'm not 100% sure. No, I go into Piloswine. I go into Piloswine expecting another Substitute, and I can scare her out with Icicle Spear. I don't think I actually have Icicle Spear. I don't. Oh wait, no, I do. Okay, I did have Icicle Spear, so yeah, going into this made a lot more sense, because I can take an Energy Ball and potentially kill that. So Vaporeon's her switch in here. Makes a decent amount of sense if it's got a bit of Spadef on it. Because I haven't hit this thing yet, I don't know what its spread is. So if it's got a bit of Spadef on it, it can definitely take on Hurricane extremely well, but then it becomes more vulnerable to Zygarde. So it's some kind of trade-off, but I do not want to get burned, like, at all, so I'm just going to go into Rotom as she actually throws up a Wish. And that kind of sucks, because Whimsicott can come back in. I do get a Trick Off onto it, which is kind of nice. Tricking either this or Vaporeon would have been really, really good. I definitely prefer tricking Whimsicott, because, it means it has to lock into either Moonblast, which Piloswine can take advantage of, or a Grass move if it has it, which I'm actually going to scout for by going into Pidgeot here, as she does indeed reveal the Energy Ball. So now she's locked into that, which means I can basically free either Hurricane or Roost, as I Roost. I thought I Hurricaned there, that probably was a better play, but whatever. I'm going to Hurricane the Vaporeon as she shows to be physically defensive based on that damage. I just kind of have to hope and pray for no Scald Burn, which happens, thankfully. So I'm just going to keep spamming Hurricane on this thing because it's an easy 3 shots as she wishes up. And now I'm going to Roost on the Protect because Scald is a 3-hit KO, barring burns. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, I'm going to Hurricane again as she wishes, and now I'm going to, I believe, go into Rotom, yes, as she Scalds here. Risking a Hurricane roll, but I think I needed like a, I don't know, I have 41, 41. I got two 41s in a row, and then a 45, so I think this thing was guaranteed out of range. I completely forget. I think I needed a mid-high or max roll or something to kill this, so Scalding there's no drawback, basically, but she doesn't get the burn on my Rotom, which kind of sucks for her. One, that means my foul play is still full power, so Dragapult is taking a ton of damage, but also obviously I still gain lefties. I'm gonna go ahead and Volt Switch as the Whimsicott comes back in, which is pretty free, but this thing's starting to get worn down without gaining lefties back, and it can't really lock into Leech Seed unless it wants Zygarde to eventually sit up, but I think she might be able to tell by the damage. Well, I could tell by the damage that this was like a physically defensive Whimsicott, which means Moonblast is doing jack shit to pretty much everything on my team. Energy Ball also kind of spoiled that fact. If it was like offensive, I think it would have done a decent chunk, so yeah. Or if it was like max special attack, max HP or something, because it had a bit of Phys Def investment because arrows did absolutely nothing. So yeah, I'm gonna bring this in. Go ahead and U-turn. Or no, I'm gonna Hurricane as she actually brings in the Mandibuzz instead of the Vaporeon, which I thought was kind of surprising. She's PP stalling my Hurricanes relatively well here as she roosts, but I do have a chance to kill this Mandibuzz here with Hurricane, so I'm actually just gonna take the chance. If I can knock that out, that's really good for Zygarde. A lot of other mons on my team kind of beat Mandibuzz, but being able to potentially kill it here is still really good, because Zygarde being able to spam 1,000 arrows with 1 of 3 answers out of the way is nice, so I am just going to take that as she actually foul plays me. So I'm going to not burn any more Hurricanes. That's, I think, purely why I clicked U-turn here. I didn't want to waste any more Hurricanes, but if she did switch out into Vaporeon, I would get Switch Initiative, bring in Rotom, and just keep going from there. Maybe get some damage off with Zygarde. Risking burns, I don't know. But I'm going to U-turn, knock up the Mandibuzz. That's really good because obviously 1,000 arrows is a lot more spammable. I'm going to bring in Rotom to force in the Dragapult and force a prediction game. So what I plan on doing here is foul playing twice and then Volt Switching. If she Dragon Darts at any point, I can eat that. But in the first 2 exchanges, I can eat that and foul play this thing. I don't expect her to Dragon Darts first, as she does not. She goes for the substitute. So foul playing here, just because she hasn't seen my last move. It could be like Will-O-Wisp, it could be like Toxic, it could be Thunder Wave, and then I wouldn't be able to break her sub, but I do reveal the foul play. So I'm going to foul play twice. She Dragon Darts me here. Foul play, I think, actually has a chance to kill this. I'm pretty sure. I think it actually probably kills this from here. Either way, it's definitely my best play to just foul play here because I can eat a Dragon Darts. If it goes for Phantom Force, I can just go into Pidgeot on that and eat a Dragon Darts. Actually, I'm kind of low, maybe not, but yeah, I'm just gonna go for another foul play. She actually reveals to substitute on this turn, and I don't think she's gonna substitute again because she's getting herself really low. If I just keep spamming foul play, it's not in a good spot. Whimsicott's a really free play into the foul play, and I just go ahead and Volt Switch now. So yeah, the plan works out really well. I get more chip on the Whimsicott and an opportunity to Hurricane / Roost / gain momentum with U-turn and not waste Hurricane PP. So now I'm going to Volt Switch, pretty much stick her in a Vortex where she has to keep switching between Whimsicott, Vaporeon, sometimes Dragapult. So that's pretty nice. I'm going to go into Piloswine because I don't she can't attack me, because obviously Ice Shard will just kill her. As she Leech Seeds, she loses her Whimsicott, which means she loses her best check to Rotom, because foul play Dragapult, I can outspeed and kill Mawile, and I do a ton of damage to Vaporeon, put it in range of getting 2-shot by Pidgeot / Zygarde. Almost called it Mio, that would have been funny. So I'm kind of in a really advantageous cycle here. This cycle definitely benefits me a lot more than her. Vaporeon's going to come in on my Ice Shard, which is definitely very solid for her. I'm going to go ahead and switch out into my Rotom because I'm expecting a Scald, as she doubles into Whimsicott, so she gets the nice read off there. I have to switch out. I'm going to go into Weezing. Weezing is I think my best play overall. It covers a few different things here. So if she Energy Balls again, obviously I take that. I don't think her last move is Psychic. I think it has to be Moonblast, because otherwise she leaves herself really vulnerable to Zygarde with E-Speed. Without that, it just does too much damage. Even if it's Phys Def, it doesn't really like taking different forms of coverage like Iron Tail into E-Speed. Moonblast, and getting no damage off with Moonblast at all, especially on a team with no Scarfers, is relatively disadvantageous. So I'm going to elect to go into Weezing for that reason. It also covers a Spatak drop, because if I get a Spatak drop on Pidgeot, Vaporeon just comes in extremely freely, and it sucks to deal with that. So I'm just going to go into Weezing. Yeah, she gets a free Wish Up if I'm -1, because Hurricane's doing like a quarter instead of a third. So or like almost half even. So I'm just going to go into Weezing, she's going to Moonblast, and get this attack drop. So Weezing was definitely the play there, as I go for a Toxic. No, I go for a Fire Blast. Now that was kind of suboptimal, I guess. I expected Mawile to come in on a Toxic. I'm trying to take full advantage. But I, like, just in case its last move is Iron Head, but it would have clicked it in the initial exchange with my Weezing. So Fire Blast, not a great play there, I guess. I don't know if Strange Steam knocked out Whimsicott during the game, and that's why I Fire Blasted. Either way, Toxicking there I think was the best play overall, because even if Mawile came in, I could just 1v1 that relatively easily. She'd have to sub and dodge a Fire Blast in order to potentially have a chance versus this. It dodged like 2 Fire Blasts even, I think. So yeah, I'm going to Fire Blast. Now I'm going to Toxic. Yeah, she throws up a Wish. I fully expect this and Toxic, and now I believe I go ahead and switch in Rotom. And because I'm not really expecting Mawile to come in, but that's exactly what comes in. No, I Strange Steam. What the fuck was I doing there? Okay, so I think Strange Steam did kill Whimsicott, and that's what I expected the Wish to be passed to, predicting my Rotom to come in. So I think that was my train of thought on that turn. So there's that. I'm going to Strange Steam the incoming Mawile, which I thought wasn't the play, but it actually turns out to be great for her because she gets her Mawile back up to full, brings in the Vaporeon, I go for Fire Blast, so I'm getting outplayed in this sequence of turns here. I'm going to have to switch out because I don't want to get my Weezing really, really low because I still think it's really valuable for Dragapult. I think at this range, Steel Wing's a roll, maybe, potentially, possibly, I don't know. So I'm just going to go into Rotom, she's going to Wish up, and I'm going to Hydro Pump. Because that covers every possible thing that could come in on the Wish, except for Pult, but I don't think Pult is the play, really. If it is Pult, then that's pretty smart. I think it's going to be Whimsicott, though, because she needs to be able to absorb hits from my Rotom with something, and Hydro Pump from here is a guaranteed kill on the Whimsicott, and I do catch, indeedly do, catch the Whimsicott coming in, and I knock that out. So that's really good. Mawile's going to come in, and I'm just like, I'm jumping for joy because I get free Volt Switch damage off on this. Bring in my Weezing again. She's going to go for the Play Rough. Yes, and that's going to do 15%. I go ahead and Fire Blast yet again. No, I go for Taunt. That looks hugely brained, but I don't think I hugely brained that play on purpose. I think I was trying to stop a Swords Dance again for some reason. I don't know. I guess that did cover the Vaporeon coming in as well as the Pult. So overall, I think Taunt was the best play there. If she did sub and it was SD in the last slot, that was a really solid move just in general. And I wanted to minimize risk with Fire Blast basically. And she does go into this. I'm gonna go ahead and switch back into my Rotom because it's just like really free. She's going to Scald and finally net herself that burn. But it's too little too late as I'm going to Volt Switch here. As I think Dragapult comes in, yeah, and now Piloswine's looking like a threat. I am just going to go for the Ice Shard because it's relatively no drawback. If the Vaporeon comes in, it's a guessing game of what she has to do. She has to either Heal Bell because the Toxic's going to start racking up eventually. She's going to have to Wish. She's going to have to Scald. Like, it's just a mind game at that point. I'm going to go for Earthquake. I wanted to see if this thing had enough speed on it. Because the calcs were pretty ambiguous, because it could have been at any kind of speed with a ton of Fizz Def, because of the Hurricane damage, showed me that she had no Spadef at all, so she didn't really have any room for that kind of investment. So I just wanted to be able to get damage on this, force her to Wish even as well. If she Scalded here and burned me, then I'll go fuck myself, but she actually does throw up the Wish immediately, which means I can just freely go into Pidgeot because I put her in a range to where she needs to protect now. Yeah, and it shows me that it didn't have that much physical defense investment. I think it had Spatak investment because that Scald looked like it did a chunk to Rotom, but I'm not 100% sure. I didn't calc that particular thing during the game. Regardless, this has to protect. I think Pidgeot is the thing that has the greatest value coming in here for free. It could be Zygarde, but I don't want Zygarde to get burned and then suddenly be passive and then have that be a secret sub-DD Dragapult in the back. So I figure Pidgeot is just overall the best play. It also doesn't mind if she clicks Scald, because I can eat that and potentially do good stuff with Hurricane, the Toxic starting to rack up, all of that goodness. So there's that. Yeah. So the wish is going to go off. She does protect. I'm bringing the Pidgeot. Moile's going to come in here. I'm going to Hurricane this. Not waste. I'm guaranteed out of range of Sucker Punch, so there's that. So I'm just going to HP Ground. Max roll was 65%. That's nice. HP Ground knocks that out. Dragapult's going to come in. I'm going to just sack off my Pidgeot, because at this point, Piloswine wins guaranteed. If she has Wisp, Earthquake and Ice Shard still kills, or 2 Earthquakes still kills the Dragapult. I can eat a Dragon Darts. Just spamming Earthquake versus that while the Vaporeon's alive is my best overall play, because I 2-hit KO the Vaporeon if it switches in with toxic damage and stuff, and that's exactly what happens. So I'm going to knock out the Vaporeon, and then the Dragapult's going to come in, and I will dispatch that with an Ice Shard. So a nice big 4-0 win, putting me to 7-1, guaranteeing me a top 3 seed in the playoffs. My last week is we gentlemen to agree to have meme sets, because my opponent said he didn't really want to bring like his A-team against me or something. I completely forget really his exact wording, but yeah. So we did, gentlemen, to agree to bring meme sets. If I lose that game, he gets the bye. If I win that game, I get the bye. I really want the bye, but again, like I said, we gentlemen the meme sets. So I'm gonna bring funny, funky memes week 9, and probably do something fun with that video. So yeah, thank you for watching. This was a long one. I also accidentally kept Dragon Roost's theme on for pretty much the whole video when I meant to switch to a boss battle song for the battle. Regardless, it doesn't really matter. This was a big, long video. I really don't feel like re-recording it over such a simple mistake like that, because Dragon Roost's theme is awesome. So yeah, thank you very, very much for watching. A very solid game, a very solid start, 7-1. You could say that's a decent record, I guess. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. Peace out.